You know something that is guaranteed to give you unhappiness? It is not being in deep focus. Are you deeply focused now that I spend a lot of time emphasizing that sense? I put a lot of work into that, all right? Like the video. There's a lot of people online, Twitter, if you will. Did you hear that Elon Musk wants to buy it? What's your thoughts on that? But there's so many of them on there that are always talking about how their mental health is hurting them and how depressed they are. Well, look, as I always have to say, caveat on this show, yeah, chemical imbalances and whatnot, but a lot of the time when people say that they're depressed when they're online all the time, it's because you are on Twitter. Of course you're going to be depressed when you're on fucking Twitter. Does anyone say anything remotely happy ever on that? It's just endless snark from beginning to end, and sometimes something says something so snarky that the people at Twitter just go, no, you're banned, you're not allowed to be here, go to Parler. It's not a happy environment to begin with, but the other thing is that constantly getting your attention flicked away does something that is called pumping you with dopamine. And pumping you with dopamine keeps your attention, but it doesn't make you happy. What does make you happy is deep focus on a subject. You know why I got so obsessed with the Byzantine? Still am now. I think I've read like 15 books on it this year so far. Every spare second I have, even when we're filming. And those guys are just talking about, boring things like how to get the video out. Lame! I am sitting there reading pages about Maurice's Strategicon. I am always in that realm, and I think that the thing that always I understood intuitively is when you are deeply involved in something, when you are deeply thinking about something, when you get to the point where you wake up in the morning, now, because I've just been thinking about it so much, I wake up in the middle of the night and I write down notes because my subconscious is churning over the ideas of those books and going boom and coming up with a different realization. That's where happiness comes from. That's what the brain wants to be doing. The brain wants to be doing ever more complicated tasks. You think it doesn't because there's always this fear of, I've never done this before, so I'm not going to do it because I'm going to be crap at it. If you can just push through that, if you can push through the whole point of, this is going to be painful in the short term, after you've done it a couple of times, it becomes easy. The thing that I'm always going to have to refer to, obviously, is my stand-up shows. The first time that I went in front of a full crowd of people that were paying for me, I obviously shat myself. It was a terrible act. I'm very glad that that wasn't filmed, and I'm sorry that anybody paid for it, and I am not sorry for not giving out refunds, right? Fast forward to 5 years, walking out on stage is like breathing air. Sometimes I'm a little bit off, but that's like 10 minutes in and I'm just thinking like, this crowd's tough, right? But in terms of just walking on stage, air, oxygen at this point. No fear at all. And it is just because you get used to things. You get conditioned to it. No longer a challenge. Nothing to me. I know it sounds like I'm bragging because a lot of people just don't have that experience and a lot of people are very scared of public speaking. And yes, I had the inclination from a young age that I was very good at public speaking. But my point remains valid. Just shut up and listen to me like you always do. And I never listen to you ever. And sign up to Jordan Shanks and get 2 extra videos a week. You'll love it. You know you fucking will. But after a while, yes, okay, so there is that thing that you just get desensitized to something and it becomes easier. But why do you push yourself to do that? Because the brain likes to be challenged. It's even when you give dogs, when you say, when you get a dog back from the vet and they say you can't take it for a walk, and then it says, why don't you just train it with a bunch of tricks and it'll get tired. So that's time that you teach it to sit down. That's time when you teach it to roll over. Because the brain still needs to be stimulated with a challenge that it can't quite do yet, even on that basic mammalian level. No offense to dogs, obviously. I love them. I really do. Have you ever heard a chick on Instagram say that? No, you're only going to get this content here. That's why I have to sign up to Jordan Shanks to hear people say that they like dogs. But yeah. The brain is always looking for something that it can do that is challenging, but it also is always tricking itself because it wants to be comfortable. There is always that dichotomy at play. But I am always saying that you should be pushing through that. you should never, ever settle for going on Twitter or going online and doing what you're doing right now. Don't watch me, just sign up to the Patreon and then watch the Patreon. No, just don't even watch that. Just read a book. That's all I'm saying. Look, I'm saying that you think that the way to get out of the frame that you are currently in, let's just put it this way. When you get home from a busy day at work and you have a really menial job like working in a restaurant, yeah? I've seen it before with housemates. They want to turn the TV on and watch Spider-Man 3 because they want their brain to decompress. If you forced yourself to read a book, I think that you would be better off. First off, I think you'd be out in half an hour. But that half an hour is so much more nutritious than Spider-Man 3. Can you give yourself a little more credit than that? This is where I'm talking about right now, is that if you aren't doing something that is challenging you mentally, not only are you stagnating, but you will not be happy. You won't be happy because your brain needs something to churn over. That's what it is. That's designed to do. It's designed to solve problems. And if you're not giving it any problems to solve, that's when it starts to get depressed. That's when it starts to get complacent. That's when it starts to get lazy. These are bad habits. You do not want these in your life. Because the other thing that happens, this is something else that really freaks people out. Say that you are a nuclear scientist. The nuclear scientist would honestly find it harder to sit around and watch Married at First Sight than they would to just continue on with their work. It's inertia. Sorry, it's the exact opposite of inertia. It's momentum. It's momentum. Once you are moving in one direction, you just want to keep moving in that direction. That's how the brain works. It just wants to keep going down the direction that it's going. So, when you have given it a lazy task, it just wants to stay in lazy mode. But you can easily bring it up. Easily bring it up. Grab the first book that is around you after this, open it up, read it, see what I'm talking about. Within a couple of pages, you'll be immersed. Now, the thing that I think robs people of a lot of happiness and also just attention and also just prosperity in life, and I think this is all because it's a reward mechanism, is that once you give the brain this task, it realizes, oh, okay, if I keep doing this, I will get rewarded for it. It has a feeling, an innate feeling in it that, yes, I should be doing this instead of doing nothing, you know? But once you start doing these tasks, this is the killer. If you have your phone around, you will be taken out of that deep focus. You will never get that feeling of accomplishment, that same accomplishment feeling that you get at the gym when you really pump hard and your muscles feel completely tired afterwards and you hurt, but you always see people smiling when they say that. My muscles hurt so much. Just can everyone just know that my muscles... Yeah, we get it. You went to the gym. Shut the fuck up. Right? But they're doing that. That's what's happening to you. That is what is happening to your brain when you are working that out. It will be moved out of it if you have your phone around you. If you have anything distractionary around you. The laptop that I'm currently recording into, very well observed all those people that said that the quality is getting shitter. How did your eyes see that? Aren't you very clever? Isn't it amazing that eyes can do that? I'm not going to actually address your point of improving the camera quality at all because, ironically, I would have to put in more effort. How annoying is that? Sipping straight after that. I'm that fucking Leonardo DiCaprio gif. Hey, you know the drill. All I'm saying is, give yourself the gift of deep focus. Please do that. Please get the self-control app. Please leave the phone in another room when you're reading and when you're writing and you turn off the internet and you live in a log cabin. One of my friends who's really into deep focus, actually, he works for Michael West, he was saying that the best videos that I ever did were obviously the ones where I was in Lithgow. And it makes me very sad when I think about that because he's absolutely right. And the reason he was is because I didn't have internet there. It was a log cabin. I lived in the woods with my dog. And obviously, my brain just had to focus on that. That's why when you hear about all these eccentric writers, when they need to write something, they go out into the wilderness with a typewriter and a pack of cigarettes, and then they come back 6 months later when the snow freezes over and they can actually get down the road. They basically live the same life as Heisenberg at the end of Breaking Bad, but they willfully put themselves there and don't want to leave. That's where you get the most out of your brain. Deep focus. But this is the other thing as well. I will say this. If you don't have a day where you aren't deeply focusing, you are not going to have a happy day. Now, I've got all those other tricks. of how to give yourself the right priming attitude in the morning so that the rest of your day is positive. And those are available on Jordan Shanks behind the paywall. Sign up today for the price of less than a cup of... you know what? I'm just going to say this from now on. For about the same price as Gatorade at BP... For around the same price as Gatorade at BP, I will give you more electrolytes and more energy and more good vibes than that. And I will move you from where you are now to a millionaire, guaranteed. It's happened before. Don't say that it can't be you. If you aren't doing it correctly, then it's all your fault, isn't it? Not mine. I'm giving you all the information. Look, we have proof now. We have proof of people that have become millionaires because of this show. Dare you be one of them? Dare you take on the challenge of making me a millionaire in the process? See ya.